record. Andre Alves. Bet. All right, so make sure you know what the trend is and how to identify it, right? Even though this is an uptrend, you want to know why it's going up and why it's doing the key things it's doing, right? So what I like to do is on my charts, I like to label everything. So in an uptrend, we have higher highs and higher lows, right? And the reason they're called higher highs and higher lows is very simple. You can put HH, or what I like to do is I like to draw circles on my charts as well. But I like to label all of these key points on the chart. And the reason being is us as human beings, we always forget about, like 90% of the stuff we hear on a day-to-day basis, right? So you want to make sure you understand what the chart's doing and critical points within a trend. When it comes down to the trend, you want to identify the trend on the 4-hour, right? So you want to do this type of stuff on the 4-hour time frame. And that's how you catch those big 100, 200 pip moves, right? So identify the trend and know what everything's called. The cool thing about a trend is that these points here, they're called the move, right? These are the move, the impulse, correction, whatever you want to call it. This is the move, right? 9 times out of 10, this, and this will always be about the same length, right? So what that means is if this move is 100 pips and then it pulls back, this move should be 100 pips, and then the pull back and this move should be 100 pips as well, right? You can always keep that in the back of your head when it comes down to your trading. This is called the pullback. In a trend, no matter which way it's going, it's always it can't just go up for forever. It always has to make some type of retracement before it continues up, right? So know that this is the move, this is the move, this is the move, this is the pullback, and this is the pullback, right? When it comes to an uptrending market, you should only ever be looking to take buying positions, right? Buying positions. So the pattern and the structure is simple. It goes higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, right? So when it comes down to what's coming next, it's simple. We should have another higher low, right? When it comes down to how you trade in an uptrending market, you're only looking to take buying positions, right? And you only buy this market off of these higher low points, right? What's crazy is I drew this myself, but see how it still came in respect to this trend line? So when it comes to an uptrending market, you only want to be looking to take positions off of a higher low point. And it comes down to identifying when the higher low point's coming. Obviously, once the higher low comes and it starts shifting directions back down and it starts making this pullback, there's a few key things that you can always keep in mind, right? The first thing is just the pattern, right? The structure, what's coming up next, higher low. The second thing is the trend line. And then the third thing is your Fibonacci tool, right? And these are my settings on Fibonacci. I'll show you. These are my settings. I use the 100, the 76, the 61.8, the 0, the -27, and the -61.8. And I'll explain to you guys why I use those ones later on when we get to it. I want to record too if it's possible. Okay, hold on. I would say Homeboy is recording it. You could just get the recording for him. This is a time call. This is only a 40-minute call. So we don't really have that much time to waste. So I'm going to teach you guys a fib strategy later on. But this is the uptrend. Does the uptrend make sense? Does it make sense why certain things happen? Okay, cool. If you guys can understand that these moves here are always going to be the same and these moves here are always going to be the same, you're going to have the ability to, make a lot of pips, right? And it's as simple as that. We're going to talk about the downtrend and then the shift in trends real quick, and then we'll be good. We can move on. So downtrend, same thing, right? Same thing. Here's the move, here's the move, here's the move, here's the pullback, here's the pullback. 9 times out of 10, this and this and this are going to be the same thing, right? So that's like 100 pips. It's all going to be 100. When it comes to how you trade a downtrend, you're selling off of the lower high points, right? And it's as simple as that. One key thing a lot of people don't understand about trends is when they're shifting. So we'll talk about that real quick. So let's say here's our uptrending market, right? Let's start over. All right, hold on. Let's just say here's our uptrending market, right? In an uptrend, the most important part in an uptrend is the last higher low point, right? This point right here is the most important thing in an uptrending market. And the reason why this is the most important is because an uptrend is no longer an uptrend once the last high or low has been broken, right? So it doesn't matter if the market comes down, it starts doing something like this. It can go all the way down to this point, and then it could turn back up and it's still uptrending, right? But if the market comes here and it goes even a little bit below this line, this one right here, it's now a downtrend. So now you can wait for the next pullback and then start selling it and get into the downtrend, right? Same thing for a downtrending market. Let's say if it's downtrending, the last lower high in the structure is the key point. And we can start coming up, pulling back, coming up, pulling back, coming up, pulling back. Once it comes to this line, once it breaks above, it's now shifted directions, right? So this is one big key thing that I do in my trading, and I do this on the 4-hour time frame, right? And I do this on the hourly as well. Now I'm going to teach you guys how we were able to secure, however many. This trade is currently floating 112 pips in profit, right? It missed take profit 3 by a little bit. But I'm going to teach you guys how I was able to identify this and get out this swipe trade for you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to step-by-step do this on a new chart. So GBP USD. Cool. Let's go ahead and erase all this. So cool. So what I like to do is, first off, always start off on the daily time frame, right? And you can identify structure on the daily time frame as well. Cool thing about this is I see with my eyes that GBP/USD was uptrending for a long time, right? So, you could do the highs and lows, you can do all that. What I like to do is I like to just simply draw circles on my charts, right? So that's a low, that's a high, that's a higher low, this is a higher high, right? And the reason I do this is because I like to leave notes for myself on my chart, right? I like to know what's coming up next. I like to know, okay, well, on this time frame, this is what's happening, right? Realize that the daily time frame tells you pretty much everything about which way the market's going to go, right? So realize that the daily tells you the overall direction of which way the market's going. So here's the low. There's the high. This was the last higher low. And this was the last higher high, right? So again, I said the last higher low in the market is the key area for any pair, right? So that line right there. Another thing is you want to, now that you have your structure all marked up, go ahead and start adding some trend lines into the mix, right? So that was the trend. And I mean, honestly, you could even draw one up here, right? So we could say this was the overall, whatever you want to say, this was the overall trend, right? We could say on the daily time frame, it was going up. Eventually, it came down to this point where it broke the trend line, right? So now that it broke it, this is no longer the floor, right? You guys know support and resistance. Support and resistance is the roof and the floor in the market, right? It's not just sideways, but it's also diagonal. This was the resistance. This was the support. This was the floor. Once the market breaks through the floor, this is now the new roof, right? But this market was going bearish for so long, go down, so it definitely needed a pullback, right? So now you start zooming in. Think of GB. Think about the daily time frame as like your Google Maps. Like think of it as whatever country you guys are currently in, right? Think about, like, I'm in the U.S. Think about this as the U.S. If I want to zoom in on the 4-hour, now I'm looking at, like, let's say Texas specifically. Let's say I zoom in a little bit more to the 1-hour, and now I can see all the little cities in Texas. I told you guys to identify structure on the 4-hour, right? When you have a market like this, it's not really, it's just kind of just going down. You can zoom into the 1-hour, right? And then start identifying the structure. Obviously, this was just going down, right? So what I did was I started picking up right here. So, let's change the colors a little bit. So I said here was the high, the low, the high, the low. This was the next high. Here was the next low. This was the next high. This was the next low. This little one right here. This was the last lower high. And the reason I picked this one and not this one or this one is because this point here is lower than this point here, right? So it pulls up, and then boom, down here, this is the last low. Okay, so in my mind, I know that this is the last lower high right here. Once I saw the market make this push up and pulled back, what you want to start understanding is in the pattern, what should come next. If it pushes down and pulls back, right, I can say this is the last lower high, right? Which you could have made an argument that that could have been your last lower high as well. If you want to do that one, that's dope. But the key thing in this is it didn't make a lower low, right? It actually made a higher low. So that gives me one indication that the market's starting to shift, right? It broke past this one, which was good. This resistance here, it was good. But then it came back, even though it tipped it just a little bit, it broke. That gave me all the confirmation I needed to know that, yo, this is no longer a downtrend, right? What happened next? It pulled back. So it made its new high. I changed the colors because it shifted direction, right? Made the higher low. Came up and made a higher high, right? In my mind, what do I know? I know that the trend goes higher high to higher low, right? So when we were looking at this market, none of this existed yet, right? So what I did was simple. I started drawing out the trend, right? I started drawing out the trend. Not only that, but I drew out this trend as well. What's crazy is that you could draw as many trend lines as you want. You take it from wick to wick and you extend it out until forever. You don't go through bodies, right? So from this wick to that wick to that wick, and even there, it finally broke and it retested it, right? When it retested it, it also made the second touch to this trend line. So you want to keep that into play as well, right? And the last thing is Fibonacci, right? Here's the Fib tool. I only take trades at the 61.8 retracement. If it's a down trade, you pull the Fib from the high to the low, and it gives you that level of retracement. In an uptrend, you pull from the low to the high, right? So once I saw the market start to change directions right here, and it made this pull back, and it made this move here, what I did was I used my Fib from the low to the high, right? And this is how I use it. Before we get into that, this is how I use the Fibonacci tool. If this is the trend, it's a downtrend, right? What I'm going to do is rule 1 with Fibonacci is you only use it in a trending market, right? Rule 2 is high to low. What I do is I measure out from the start of the move down to the end of it. And then what Fibonacci does is it tells me based on this move, when it pulls back, I'm looking to sell it at the 61.8. I don't use 38.2 and I don't use 50. And the reason why is because I always put my stop loss 10 to 15 pips above the 78.6, right? So if I did a 50% retracement, I'd have a big stop loss, right? Compared to a smaller one. See, if I put my entry at the 61.8, my stop loss, above this gives me really good, risk to reward trades. I'll give you guys the example here in just a second. But we only take trades at the 61.8 retracement. So what happened? Like I told you guys, you only take fibs in an uptrending market, and this could be on any move. It could have been right here. I could have bought off the 61.8 right here, right? My take profit's always the negative 27 extension, right? So I could have bought right here, set my take profit to the negative 27. My stop loss is always 10, 15 pips below the 78.6. So let's say 35, 40 pips. And I could have caught this move here, right? But that's not the move we're talking about. We're talking about the swipe trade we sent out this week. So, like I said, I pulled the fib from the low to the high. Told me the 61.8's right there. What do? We bought it right here in this general area. We bought it somewhere over here. Right? Stop loss, 10, 15 pips. Take profits, always the negative 27. So this trade risking 40 pips to make 128, right? My take profit is actually a little bit higher. Mine's like 150 pips. I chose 150 pips for this one. But based on the strategy, you take the trade to 61, your first take profit's negative 27, your next one is 61.8. If you find the trend and you identify the trend and you get in on the higher low or the lower high or whatever it is, lower low, you can always get really good setups just like this. So when it comes down to it, we didn't do anything hard. All we did is, first off, we identified the structure. We figured out what's coming up next. We knew when the market was shifting directions. And then we waited for the pullback, and then we bought, right? So, the next thing for GBP/USD is simple. So now it's forming this uptrending channel, right? So now what we're going to do is, once again, we're going to wait. We're going to wait for it to, it's making a pattern like this, right? This is the pattern that's happening. It's pulling up. It's just pulling up. Going down. It's going up. It's coming back. Probably what we're going to do is we'll buy it again, right? Notice this, that what I told you guys earlier, the average of moves, right? The average of this move right here, if I copy this, copy, paste, it's the same thing as this, right? You guys see that? This here is the same thing as this, right? And it's pretty much the same thing as this as well, right? So realize that in a trend, once it starts trending, if this is a 150 pip move and this is a pullback, and this is a 150 pip move, this is a pullback, this is a 130 pip move and pullback, once we get the pullback, what you guys should be expecting is pretty freaking simple. A pullback and then another big move, right? Does that make sense? Market likes to repeat itself. Yeah, Gustavo, sure does. But, keeping it very simple. Do you stop profits? If yes, when is a good time to do it? Francisco, not really, bro. The reason I don't like it is because you might be following the market, but I don't like getting, on swipe trades, yeah, but me personally, I don't like to do that unless I'm swing trading. The reason why is I can move my stop profit. Let's say this move happened, and I put my stop profit right here, right? And then it pulls back, it stops me out, and then it goes up another 100 pips. For me, I'd rather do a break even than a stop profit, or I'd rather be up floating 100 pips before I move it into, profit. All right, cool. Does anybody have any questions going over this GBP/USD trade? Did this make sense? Yeah, it kicked me out of this trade. Yeah, man, unfortunately it did. I got in like right here. 192.90. I got in on this wick. Awesome. Okay, cool. We talk about GJ real quick, and we'll call it a day. When it comes to GJ, you out? All right, peace. When it comes to GJ, we have this 147,500 area, right? Which is key. It's at once, twice, 3 times, 4, 5, so many times, 6. Now it's at 7. Not only that, but we have this uptrending market. The uptrend was broken, so now it's retesting this trend line, right? And also we have this daily trend line going down as well. So right now, where we're at with GJ is a critical point. It's a critical area to look for selling opportunity, right? So when it comes down to it, it's starting to stall out, right? It's starting to slow down. It's still respecting this daily, weekly trend line. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see this trend here. I'd like to see this trend line here being broken, and then from there we can start selling GJ. Market geometry in your trading. I don't really know about market geometry. There's 1,000 different ways to trade. It's all about what works for you. If you like market geometry and stuff like that, then use it. Me personally, I don't really use that stuff. Though it may be a retracement 60, I'm not sure if it'll continue selling it. Even though it broke this fib level here, it's slowing down. See how wick, exhaustion, right? It's showing signs of reversal candles right here. So, breaking it down, what's happening is it's starting to slow down, right? What we want to see is we want to see a break of this trend line, and then we can start looking to start taking selling positions, right? When it comes down to this trade, this is going to be a swing trade. This trade will probably go to 145 and 142, 500, and then 140. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at GJ to be a trade that goes down to 140. And then I got AUD USD as well. Key thing with AUD USD is same thing. We have a weekly trend line, same setup, and then we have a daily trend line, right? So in AUD USD, even though these candles are going crazy, what we want to do is we want to wait and be patient, let the market come to us, give us a setup. Then on the lower time frame, what we want to do is we want to look for a selling opportunity whenever we get one. The thing I like about this right now is it's giving us signs of divergence, right? So right here, the RSI is going down, but this is going up. That's a good indication of some divergence in the market, right? So when it comes down to this pair specifically, I want to sell AUD USD. It's all just a matter of when to sell it. Let's see. So honestly, I like this trend line right here. Hit, 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 hit. I'm gonna be looking at this a little bit more in depth for a selling opportunity, and the reason why is just because of all those different things in confluence, right? And even this right here, it's even giving divergence here. So it looks like a double top as well. So what I'd like to see for this pair is just a simple move back down. This looks like a M. So I'll probably be looking to take a sell on Luis said ADJPY. I have a buy there, and it's already with 100 pips. You bought AUDJPY? Let's see. Um, so you bought it here? One hour, I use your strategy. Oh, you bought right here? That looks good, but even this looks like it's about to pull back. There's a lot of divergence on AUD. AUD in general looks like it's about to drop. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Do you guys have any questions or anything like that? Anybody has any questions? Thanks. Okay, cool. Well, honestly, guys, I'm not really in the market right now looking for anything specifically. All I am in is just GBP USD, just waiting for it to. You have a specific day to trade. Monday night going into. I usually start looking at the market like I look at it Sunday a little bit, but mostly Mondays. Realistically, guys, all I'm really looking at for the market is GBP USD right now. Obviously, I want it to hit take profit 3, but once it does give us some sort of pullback, I'll probably be looking to, if it drops down, I'll probably be looking to buy it again off the trend line. So, keep that in mind. If you guys see GBP USD going down, once it gets to like 1335, 1335.50, 1335.60 in this area, I'll probably look to buy it again. That's pretty much it. I'm not really in the market heavy this week. And we already caught 117 pips off this move, which is a great trade. If it pulls back at that 61, we'll probably buy it once again. Ride it up to, you know, 1.35 is overall where I want to see it go. But keep it simple. What do you think about gold right now? Gold. I don't really trade gold heavy, bro. I'll check on gold. Gold is nice. I like gold. I haven't been like really focused on it lately. Honestly, bro, I don't really see anything with gold. It's just kind of going sideways. And gold isn't really trending. You know, it's not doing anything. I wouldn't really be in this market right now until it like gets higher than this or lower than this. Right now, all it's doing is just, I'll show you. This is what gold is doing. So I would say, you know, it's almost at the tip. And gold will either make a big move up or it'll make a big move down. It just depends on structure. I would say, man, to be honest, I really don't know. Oh, there's a nice trend line right here though. So I would say, more on the buy basis than the sell. But if it breaks this trend line right here and it starts going down, I would say long-term swing to like right here. Sell it to this point. If it goes up, you know, if it goes up, it'll probably just go up to here. If it's going up, it's going to come back up into here to 1.350. So either way, you have about a 600 pip move in either direction right now, at least on the swing basis. So right now, I would say wait for it to either break out or break down, and then start buying the pullbacks or selling the pullbacks. But you know, right now, there's really no telling until. I mean, there's a lot of support right here, right? I mean, zoom in. Look at all these wicks. Look at all those wicks. It's a lot of exhaustion. There's a lot of wicks. That tells you a lot about that. This is a strong floor. Like it's having a hard time breaking it. So more than likely, I'd like to see more upside than downside on this move. Would you set up a buy and sell stop for each case to catch the breakout? Nah, dude, I'm not really worried about catching the breakout. I'm more safe as a trader. I'd rather catch a continuation than a breakout because a breakout's like a 50-50 chance. A continuation is a 100% chance. Most people want to, you know, in this example, most people want to sell this move, right? And then maybe it pulls back and they want to sell here again and then drop, right? Me, I'll take the chance and maybe enter on this one, but I'd really wait for the market to do this and I'd sell it right here. I'd look to start selling it right here when it got lower than this. This is the breakout, this is the retest, and this is the continuation. I'd rather sell it here or once it got lower than this point right here. That's what I would do. All right, you say you want to look at Euro JPY. I mean, it's pretty bullish, but I mean, it's in an overall downtrending market. I really don't have an opinion on Euro JPY, to be honest. I don't really trade it that much. So yeah, I don't really have an opinion. Time frames, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour. We already talked about GBP JPY. But yo guys, there's only about 2 minutes left in this call. So hopefully y'all got some type of value out of this call. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your days. I know it's nighttime over there. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to get on the call. And really, thanks again to leaders who got this set up. And hopefully we can do this again soon. But yo, guys, real quick, real quick. This is gonna be the most important thing before y'all hop off. The key for you guys to being super successful in Forex, this is gonna be the biggest nugget I can give you guys. Make sure you guys have your notes out for this one. The biggest key that I could tell you guys about being successful in trading is this. It's following me on Instagram. Yo, I'm just joking. But yo, follow me on Instagram, guys. This is my little handle. Let me know how you guys are going with your trading. If you guys see any trade ideas, send them my way. See if you guys can find any trade setups with Fibonacci. But yo, guys, with that being said, there's 1 minute left in this call. Give me a follow. I'll follow you guys back. Y'all have a blessed day. Appreciate y'all once again. Take care.